I love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up, it's time to look at.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Kamen Riders. I'm your host. My name is Josh Meek, the Uber Geek, and joining me, as always, is my good buddy, Toby Tobes. What's up, Toby?
Not much, Josh. Josh, I was thinking about something the other day.
Okay.
I was driving in my vehicle to go to the store.
Okay, good. I'm glad that you weren't, running beside it or ghost riding the whip on the way to the store. Those are good things.
I probably should do that instead.
Yeah.
So I was listening to this song on the radio. And let me paint you a word picture here.
The actual radio? Like terrestrial radio?
The actual terrestrial radio, 104.5, Philly's finest alternative rock.
do they have like a name like 104.5 The Beast?
They probably do. Hold on. So while I'm looking up what no, it's just alt 104.5.
Lame. They should be The Beast. Go on.
So listen to the music. Song comes on. The song is from 1996, and it was Atonic's "If I Can Only See Your Eyes," blah blah blah, or whatever the hell that song's called. So I was reflecting upon it. And I was like, this song is super old. And I was thinking about it more. And I was like, you never really age out of the music that comes out when you're like in your lifetime.
No, you don't ever.
So
true.
Yeah. Like it never really clicked until the radio. Like, cause like when you figure like when you're growing up, you listen to your parents' rock station or pop station, whatever they like. And then when I heard the Tonic song, I was like, this is old as shit. I remember listening to this in like middle school, if not high school, but still on the radio. And this is like 25 years later. So just like it kind of blew my mind that like if you don't like listen to like the brand new actual pop stations, I guess you never age out of your original music genre.
Yeah. I've picked up new musical genres that I have liked. Like I find, I guess, that the music that I listened to in high school is the stuff that like has most cemented itself as this is your musical taste.
Well, yeah,
like
that's definitely fair too. I think it's more so like I just never thought about like if your life is just I'm specifically listening to the radio, because like obviously with YouTube, Spotify, Pandora, all that shit now, it's way easier to branch out and find new things.
Oh, but yeah, if your only source is the radio, it's just this forever. Yeah.
Yeah, and like it like obviously like our parents' generation has like the classic rock bands and stuff. But it just blew my mind. I was like, I can never get away from this shitty song. And I'm sure when I hit like 50 and 60, there will still be like an alternative rock station somewhere. And because I'm still my lifetime, that song will probably still be on.
That's kind of the weird thing about radio genres. Like when I was a kid listening to like classic rock stations, because, where I grew up in the country, that's kind of all there was. It was like, would you like to listen to country music or classic rock? I was like, well, certainly not country, so I guess we'll listen to classic rock. I assumed, Toby, in my naive young child brain, that classic rock was like a shifting scale, where it was always going to be like music from 30 years ago, right?
See, that's why I would think it should be too.
Yeah,
like
but it's
like
not. It like the stuff that was playing in classic rock stations when I was, 10 is still playing in classic rock stations now, 20 some years later, 25 years later.
To me, like the classic rock station here or the old rock or whatever you want to call it, like it was whatever bands when our parents were having us at our younger ages.
Yep.
Or I don't know how to word it, but like now, like to me, like classic rock should be like Limp Bizkit and Korn on that station.
Agreed.
But not like not new songs. Like Korn still put shit out. Like it shouldn't be like
just their old
songs.
stuff.
Yeah. Like I always thought the same thing where it'd be you age out or the generation switches, but it just never does.
Yeah, classic rock should be like heading into its early 2000s phase at this point. Like we should be getting like really into like the first Limp Bizkit record at this point or something. It's too bad that didn't happen.
It is. And then one other station here too, and I didn't think about it the other day until it was pointed out to me. So their slogan is music of the 80s, 90s, and now.
Yeah.
So that became their slogan in like the 2000s, where it meant like, okay, these past 2 decades plus the new stuff. but in the 2023 era, it's still the 80s, 90s, and now.
Yeah.
So it's like a weird cop out to like, okay, we're gonna play brand new stuff plus whatever we want that Clear Channel, whoever is paying us to play still.
Yeah, we're just as the time goes on, we're just going to continue to skip more and more things. That is kind of true of some of the classic. Like the last time I listened to classic rock, I realized that it is like 70s rock bands, but then like a very small smattering of like much newer things. Like the thing that comes to mind that you hear on classic rock stations now is like every freaking Rob Thomas song that he's ever been a part of. like Rob Thomas and like Santana together, boom, put it on the classic rock station. Anything Matchbox 20 is going to be on the classic rock station, even though it's like decades after most of the other stuff that's on there. So things do make it through, but like you got to be on the Rob Thomas level, you know. Not everybody's there, Toby.
So like I guess to wrap up this silly nonsense. So our local rock station, now with the brand new fancy technology, you can actually see what was on the radio. So this is our local rock station.
Yeah.
The past 3 songs have been Tom Petty, a Tom Petty song, another Tom Petty song, Led Zeppelin, and before that was Rush, Queen, Journey, Jimi Hendrix, Def Leppard, Aerosmith, Red Hot Chili Peppers. So we are firmly stuck in like the 80s right now.
Oh yeah, yeah. What percentage? I feel like Tom Petty too is like an overlap of a lot of the different genres. Like he'll be on the like, you know, kind of like easy listening, easy rock hits station. He'll also be on like the classic rock station. Like he'll be on that station that like banks play during the day because it's not offensive. Like I wonder like what percentage of the songs played on like terrestrial radio today are Tom Petty songs. It's got to be at least 3 or 4%. I think it's got to be a big number.
It's a solid chunk. And the crazy thing too is like a while ago I was having a music discussion with somebody, and I feel like when we were growing up, there was only a select number of genres of music. Like it was like rock or rap or metal kind of thing.
Sure.
And now like everything has the subgenres, if not like double subgenres.
Yeah.
Like hardcore to post-hardcore to like a new post-hardcore and shit like that. So when you look into it, like there's bands that have like 27 different genres that they're in because we've dissected the genres so much where like it'll be like art rock and beach rock and heartland rock and country rock and southern rock. So it's like you can pretty much like with one person or one group, you can cover like 20 different channels worth of the spectrum of music and be on all of them.
You can. It's really stupid. I hate genres like as a concept today as we've done them. Like in theory they're not bad, right? Like this is rap, this is rock, like at least gives you a starting point. But yeah, the like super granular, ridiculous like cuz it gets so granular that fans of the band will like spend half their time arguing what genre the band is. It's like if we can't even decide what like minute genre we're gonna label a band as, we've gone too far. It's past the point of usefulness at this point.
My favorite music genre, and I don't like any of the bands in it. I just like the name of it. Do you know what shoegaze is?
Yeah.
Do you know why it's called shoegaze?
Because when they play, they just look at their shoes because they're too embarrassed or too shy to like interact with the crowd. So they play their instruments and look down at their shoes.
Okay, so that's close enough. It's because they have so many pedals to make distortion noises for their guitars.
Okay,
they can't look up and keep stepping on different pedals. Your answer was better, but
my answer is how it was explained to me at some point like 15 years ago. So I don't know if I don't know if that actually has any basis in reality or if someone else was just lying. But
no, that's a way better explanation of what it is.
I mentioned shoegazing to I think my wife the other day. Like I mentioned like shoegaze rock, and she's like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "Okay, yeah, we're not engrossed in the same like musical weird subcultures." Clearly,
you're just making up words now, Josh. Stop.
Literally, what she said to me. You're just making that up. That's not real. Funnily enough, I feel like emo music, which is like I would say is the genre that I like the most right now, is one that isn't split up enough. Like, I feel like emo of all the things covers like a very broad spectrum of different types of bands, and I really hate some emo music that I can lump together in a category that sounds alike, and I really love others, but they're all just the generic emo category.
The only two I can really differentiate is there's emo, which we're vaguely talking about, and then Midwest emo, which all
Yeah,
sounds the same, but that's like
yeah.
I know I like Midwest emo, so like
I
that
guess
works for me.
I guess yeah, that I guess is a dividing line is the Midwest emo. Midwest emo. I think I'm there with you. I think the Midwest emo is probably the stuff I like better. So maybe it does have enough of a genre divide then for me to draw the line.
At least there's one way to split it out a little bit.
Yeah. But yeah, genres, I realized like several years ago that just like I'm gonna stop trying to care about what genre of music I am interested in, because it is it's nonsensical, especially when you get into the like the rock stuff that we like. It was like, well, I like post hardcore. Well, I like I like post punk. Like, what's the difference between those two things?
It's
And
a
why
little
are
talkier and a little less aggressive,
they?
but kind of more talky. And
And the concept that they're post things that are also still continuing is amazing. Like, I'm a post punk band. Well, I'm a punk band, and we're contemporaries. That makes no sense. Ridiculous, Toby. Ridiculous.
it is ridiculous. But speaking of ridiculous, we're here to do a show.
We are. Let's jump into it. As always, I guess at the top of the show, if you want to send us an email, send those emails over to cast@commonridersucks.com. We'd love to read them on the show. But for today's show, Toby, we are talking about Kamen Rider Geats episode 20.
Halfway through.
Yeah,
presumably.
it's wild to think we're 20 deep. Yeah, we're probably just like a couple episodes shy of like a completely mid-season thing. But yeah, we've seen some big changes recently in the game and in the Desire Grand Prix. We are fully in the reality TV era of Kamen Rider Geats at this point. I guess
they switched genres for their
they did.
for their sophomore album. I was trying to think of what year was the second one.
So I guess the recap, what happened last time, we voted off Daiichi as the disaster, the spy, but turns out, Toby, he wasn't the spy.
No, he was not. He was just acting like a dick for no reason.
So we're left with Keiwa, Neon, Ace, and Sae. Those are our 4 competitors that are currently left in the game. So one of them is the spy still. We don't know who it is. Or do we? We might find out. So this episode opens, Toby. The game master, of course, gives a little rundown on the rules of the game again. You gotta vote out the disaster. If you don't, and the disaster is one of the final 2, the disaster just wins kind of by default. And Keiwa, in the midst of this explanation, gets a call from his sister, and she's trying to cut a pineapple.
And the amount of theatrics and drama before we realize what she's doing, it's shot like an actual horror movie where she's shaking, terrified, holding a knife, saying, I can't go on, and it seems like she's actually having issues.
It does.
Until we realize that she's just wildly swinging knives at pineapples in a way that you'd never cut a fruit.
Sarah seems like she's a little drama filled, is what I've gathered about Sarah. Listen, she seems like a great woman. I don't know that I'd want to live with her.
She's blood. You can't get rid of her that easy.
Exactly. I guess. Yeah, that's Kayla's problem. But yeah, who calls someone and says, I can't go on. You've got to help me when they're trying to cut fruit. But yeah, she's basically bonking this pineapple with this knife. Can't cut through it. Kayla's like, this is what you called me about? And he's like, well, just like wait. And she says, well, I can't because it expires tonight.
And he's like, what the hell does that mean?
And we get to see a little shot of a box. Like the pineapple got shipped to her in a box, and it's this weird, like, kind of formal looking packaging for this random pineapple. Keiwa apparently instantly forgets about that exchange that he had with his sister because we get a little emergency and we find out there are kind of Giamato on the loose in the city. The Kamen Riders go to fight them, and the Giamato they find are just regular delivery man Giamato, just trying to do their jobs, Toby. And their job is delivering fruit bombs.
The hardest working boys in the biz.
When they pulled up in their little truck and they like hop out of the back and like flip open the lid and then just carrying boxes, I'm like, what is this show we're watching? Like these guys were like school kids like 2 episodes ago. They were pirates when all this started. Like, what is this?
Well, especially too, like in the beginning, they started seeming like actual villains. And now it's just like, what extras can we cast this week in a role? And then, okay, we're going to put evil masks on them and let them do a thing.
Yeah, like the especially like the base level Giamato, right? Like those guys originally seem very menacing, and now they are just the comedy routines essentially. Yeah, like just the extras in the school studying or delivering packages, and it's only the like rider Giamato that are scary at this point.
At this point for sure. The rest are just their background noise.
I think Keiwa even says like when they start fighting these Giamato, he's like they're weak. Like what?
These are the easiest ones we've ever fought for some reason.
Yeah. Nonetheless, the fruit that they're delivering, they find out, yes, does explode. So they wipe out this little pocket of Giamato and then head back to headquarters. At this point, Sumi shows them a letter that they have received. She kind of holds it up, and I'm like, well, I can't read that, obviously. I don't know what that
please
says.
let us know what it says.
Yeah. And I thought I couldn't read it at first just because it was in Japanese. No, it was in the Giamato language. So the characters on the show also couldn't read it, which is
none
helpful.
of us had any shot whatsoever.
Nope. And this like weird ransom letter they received from the Giamato basically says that the Giamato have planted fruit bombs all over the city, have delivered them, and the fruit bombs will explode by sunset if the riders don't get there and disarm them first.
And so, tied to that, the slow speed that it takes Keiwa to figure out that his sister has a pineapple bomb really bothered me because like it was a weird conversation in the beginning. Now, obviously, it seems poorly planned of her to try to smash a bomb with a hammer, but like they're like dropping all these like huge hints like, hey, there's evil fruit bombs, there's all this, and like he blocked out his sister's like horror movie story like that quick.
Yeah,
where he was like, oh, this seems like okay, this is an interesting game, all right, what's going on here? We got some fruit, okay, good.
So in my notes for this episode, right, so we just said that like this is what the game is. So they fought the Giamato, saw fruit. Sumi says this is what the game is. Literally like 1, 2, 3, 4 scenes that I wrote about later is when Keiwa finally realizes, oh god, my sister. Insanity.
And I was thinking about it as it went on, like tied to that. If you Josh got a random pineapple in the mail that was like, you need to eat this before sundown or whatever said before sundown, like wouldn't you just put the box back outside your house and be like, fuck this seems terroristical in nature, or not like, oh, this is a perfect gift, but I can't cut the fruit, I can't smash it with a hammer, but if I don't eat it by sundown, something bad's gonna happen. Like that goes right out in the trash. This
mysterious fruit is the perfect gift. Let me now spend the rest of my day attempting to cut it. Like Sarah had nothing else going on. Yeah, not only would I be extremely wary of that fruit and would leave it outside, not bring it in the house. It would also then consume the rest of my day in like, who sent me that? What's it from? Is he gonna kill me? Like, and hopefully anyone I told about it too would also be wondering all day long about it. But Keiwa, no, he's good. He's got other things going on.
We're gonna mosey along.
Yeah. Yeah, I also was like, I couldn't believe Keiwa was just like, oh my god, my sister.
Oh.
But yeah, before Keiwa thinks of that, we get another view of the greenhouse, the gardener in the greenhouse. And we saw, of course, Sumi receives the letter. The gardener is surprised because he sees the Giamato drafting up a letter. It's like, oh, you guys can send letters now. How cool.
No, he said, you guys can write threats now.
Right,
And
threats.
the Yamato that was at the table writing the threats seems to have no actual hands. Like his hands looked like weird polyps with no whatever's called when you can actually like use your fingers versus like other animals.
Yeah, he's not dexterous.
That's not the right word, but I can't think of it, so we're good.
It's not for you to know how the Giamato use their hands. It's just for you to receive their threats. Also, at this point, we see that Buffa's been dragged back home after his little walkabout, I guess we'll say, where he nearly died and then got dropped back into the greenhouse. So Buffa's back at the greenhouse and presumably ready to be buried. We think and become fertilizer.
Getting crankier than ever.
Yep. Of course. The hunt begins now, and for the fruit bombs, the riders head out, and in the midst of this battle, the supporter Gene basically gifts the Magnum buckle to Geats. So there's a secret mission. I think it was like the first person to defeat Giamato the fastest, or something like that.
Yeah.
And yeah, boom, the Magnum buckle's here, and Gene's like, "You're welcome."
So the thing that I was thinking it with this, because I don't know if they specifically addressed it yet or not, is it so like usually like there's one secret mission a game. How do they figure out which sponsor gets to drop the bonus?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. And like sponsor, you have to think that there's like some money being exchanged, right? Like he's paying for this to happen in some way.
Like, I mean, like that's the only like that's without them telling us, which they probably will at some point because they're very good about that. That would seem to be like the only thing you can really tie it to is like, oh, I'm gonna put $50,000 extra on Ace this week. I get to pick the secret mission. What will he do? Kill things the fastest. Let's go.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, and maybe it's like it doesn't seem like it's predetermined like super far in advance, because we had the scene with the frog last episode where he seems to be like on a whim, being like, "Oh, I'm gonna give it to Kwa right now." But I don't know. They're doing a lot. It seems like these past few episodes, maybe this whole arc of the show, we'll call it, is all based around fleshing out the DGP, like the workings of the DGP and the various sponsors and the producer and everyone's role and how it all works. So yeah, we'll probably continue to get those sorts of answers, I would think.
I hope so.
At this point in the middle of the fight, Kwa and Ace are sort of like convening about what to do, kind of what to do next, and an apple rolls between them. And again, for people who are just fighting monsters who are throwing fruit bombs, it takes them a long time to realize the apple is probably a fruit bomb.
Hey, look, there's another fruit. We only know the pineapples are bad.
But it explodes at their feet, and they knew that they had already wiped out the Giamato kind of behind them, that there wasn't any more Giamato around. So they wonder who threw the apple bomb. That's the big mystery.
So with the apple bomb thing and the way the story plays out as it goes, well, two things with that. First, when Geats got his special fancy buckle, the spider phone was a spider that dropped down again, like the old days. And he tickled it as a thank you and made it giggle before it went away.
I loved that he tickled it.
And you almost skipped the most important part of this episode.
Oh, well, was it the tickling of the spider phone?
Yeah.
Okay, good. That was a good.
They can update that firmware for the toys now to make the spiders ticklish.
God, I hope they had the forethought of letting it be tickled from the very beginning. Like, you got to build that in.
But the more rational thing I thought of as the game goes on, and I feel like they never really clarified it, but I feel like it comes up later during the whole pineapple escapades. Like, they make it sound like there's like one head Giamato that has each fruit, right?
Yeah.
Because like it didn't seem super clear at first, but they were like, why is there more apples? We got the apple guy. And it didn't really click, or it wasn't explained properly, or I missed it, because later when they need to find the pineapple, there's still random fruits and they're like, no, we need the pineapple man. We have to find the pineapple man.
So that you're hitting on my big issue with this whole episode is that it was so inconsistent, and like it was the annoying type of inconsistent where the people in the game acted like they knew exactly what was going on, but it was never clear what the goal actually should be. Like, so that's a great example of the like we got to find the pineapple man. Like, well, why? So anyway, we're jumping ahead a little bit there, but we go see Sarah. He realizes finally that she got her pineapple bomb. They run to her house. They run to their apartment, and she is wrapped up in wires. So the pineapple has wrapped her up in a red wire and a blue wire. So obviously, like a bomb, they need to cut one of them. They don't know which one to cut to get her free without the bomb exploding.
The obvious answer was always the red one. No matter
it's
what the answer
it's
was,
always
the red one.
It's always the red wire. But go ahead.
Okay. In true Sarah fashion, the most exciting part of all this drama in her life was that superstar of the stars, Ace, and Twitch streamer extraordinaire Neon showed up. And she was like, wow, it's my famous friends again. Versus like, hey, I might die. There's this weird pineapple wrapping me up.
Well, if you remember the last time she hung out with them, she ended the night being like, guess I can die now. So it's pretty fitting now she's about to die and she sees them once again. Yeah, that's the endearing part of Sarah, is just like, oh my god, it's the famous people. But yeah, so we have these wires. So one, there's no explanation for why the pineapple spits out wires where all the other bombs just explode. That doesn't really make a ton of sense. But two, they instantly decide, KY and Ace instantly decide here that like, well, obviously to figure out how to save Sarah, we got to go track down the guy who's delivering pineapples. I'm like, well, what's that going to tell you? Like, are you going to interrogate him? Like, what's the plan here? Right? Like, because they never explain what they're going to do when they track down the pineapple guy.
Is this another example of we're supposed to infer that Geats just knows everything? That he's played Fruit Bomber before, and it's just like, oh, I know how this works. You kill the one that has the thing, and there was never anyone tied up before, but now when we kill Pineapple Man, he will truly drop the correct answer upon defeat.
Like, it could be, but Kayla also seemed to like instantly understand. Because okay, so to jump ahead to that scene when we get to the Pineapple Man, so Kayla finally tracks him down, and Kayla just annihilates this MFer, just like the most kind of brutal fight. Yeah, the most brutal fight I've really seen Kayla participate in, and he kind of just like rips this dude apart, and then just like drop kicks him across this building. He explodes. As the Giamato explodes, he leaves behind a single red wire. Kayla sees this single red wire, and I'm at home and I'm just super confused still. Kayla sees it and he was like, I've got it. We cut the red wire. I was like, well, first of all, how did you know he was going to leave behind anything when he exploded? Like, he could have just exploded like all the others. And second of all, why do you know it's the wire that's left behind is the one you cut? It could be the one that's not there anymore. Like, yeah, that's just as reasonable.
Opposite one.
Yeah. So that was super frustrating for this whole episode, which is like, what? There's no logic in this, and everyone pretends like they understand all the internal logic. It was very frustrating.
The one at least decent part about the whole Sarah's blowing up storyline is it was kind of cool that they did the countdown clock, like 24 in the bottom corner of the screen.
I did
make
like
it seem like more of a reality drama of like there's 423 left. What's gonna happen?
That was perfect, right? Because if this is a real reality show, they would totally have that. They would have the countdown clock in the corner. You'd be watching it in real time. And yeah, it'd be like the real nail biter situation. And yeah, they get down to what, like 10 seconds left or something like that. Really, really short by the time they actually do save her. Yeah, that was great. I love those little touches that they're doing to really hammer home that like, this is a reality show. People are watching this for entertainment. Speaking of watching things for entertainment, Toby, we also get a shot here of Neon's father, who is in one of the audience rooms, and he's watching the show, which is to be expected. He's a sponsor. We already knew that. However, he's brought Neon's mom along to see the show for some horrible reason.
Let me show you what I'm doing to our daughter.
Yeah. Neon's mom happens to be watching the scene where they find Sarah, who's wrapped up to a bomb and is about to die. And Neon's mom is just distraught. Neon's dad basically says like, listen, she needs this. It's for her independence. She'll be fine. Plus she has, a powerful sponsor behind her, which is him. But he says he's got
Plus, I
work
got
to
shit
do.
to do too.
Yeah, and he just rolls out. So the mom like tears up the audience box, and then I loved this scene. She does what a regular human would do, which is call her daughter. Like I feel like the character thing to do would be just like be really sad about it, but she did the more real life thing, which is like fuck this, I'm calling her.
And then that made me think of too, like there's too much outside too much outside interference in this season of the show. We'll call it.
There's a lot of
Like,
it, yeah.
Like parents are calling, Sarah's making phone calls, Kayla's going home whenever he wants to. The sponsors can drop into the games or like the world or whatever you want to call it and be like, "Hey, friend, just want to tell you that I'm really rooting for you."
Yeah. I think that the KWA stuff is especially interesting to me because they earlier in the show like really hammered home the point of like, don't freaking tell anybody. Like, I'm gonna monitor your video recordings that you're making. I'm gonna hover over your phone call that you're making. And now this episode, it's just like him and his other Kamen Rider buddies just get to run in and save the day from Sarah, and there's no concern about her knowing what's up.
The ever changing rules.
Yeah.
As fast and as loose as ever.
So Neon's mom calls her. Neon takes the phone call outside, and the mom, I think her big mistake she made when she was trying to get Neon to come home was she said, "Come home and we got a guy picked out for you. Come home, we'll get married. It'll all be okay.
You'll have to play this game for the guy. He's right here.
We got him. We got him
as
on lock.
Dreamy as ever."
So Neon, of course, as expected, says, "No, I don't want to marry that dude," and basically says, "You've controlled my happiness for long enough. I'm going to play this game. I'm going to do what I want to do for myself, for my happiness, for my own independence." And kind of hangs up on her mom.
Which you learned from Geats in one of his powerful speeches way back in one of the games where he was like, "You have to try or shit's not going to happen for you."
Yep, exactly. Yeah. So she's fully the master of her own destiny at this point, which is great. I love sort of the culmination of the Neon character arc there, because we just come off the her doubting herself with Neon not in the game anymore. Like, oh no, can I even do this? And it's cool to see her like have her resolve again.
She's ready as she's ever been.
And then, of course, a tiny scene, but Sae comes out to check on Neon to make sure everything's okay.
She's still the comforting older sister.
Exactly. The two of them are still pretty tight. Then things start to pop off, Toby. We move back to the greenhouse, and the gardener is attempting to, or he's starting to kind of bury Buffa's ID core, the cracked ID core.
He's gonna make him a nice zombie or a mutant.
Yep.
Or whatever we consider these people to be.
He's gonna grow himself a nice Buffa. However, a woman shows up, and she is dressed like a goth Lolita, we'll say. she's like eating jelly beans out of this like stupid ornate pouch that she has, and just kind of very gothic, like in a skirt. Like she just is she's quite the character.
She shows
up. Yeah. She shows up and asks for the ID core, and come to find out, the greenhouse guy calls her sponsor Sama. So she explains that she is the Giamato sponsor. So
which
not
seems
only
crazy to me too, that you can back the evil plant monsters.
I mean, I guess you have good guys and bad guys in this fight, and she is the one backing all of the Giamato. So I don't know. Again, hopefully we get this explained. Like, what does that entail? What does that mean? When she is the sponsor of the Giamato, did she assist in their creation? Does she just fund the greenhouse guy? Like, how does all that work?
And she's that annoying friend where like, if like four of you are watching like a sport together, three of you will root for the same team just because you're all friends and want to like and have a nice night.
Yeah.
And there's always that fourth friend. They'll be like, "Nah, fuck all you guys. I want you all to lose. I'm rooting for the evil people."
Yeah, I'm also that fourth friend, so I can definitely relate. She, however, this time has her eyes set on Buffa. So Buffa's kind of coming to when he wakes up. She has a discussion with him. He first sort of thinks that she's DGP staff, and she's like, "Don't lump me in with those people." She says she just enjoys human suffering, which what a lovely woman she is.
I guess that's the type of person that would root for the Germano.
Yeah, that definitely tracks. Basically, her proposal to Buffa is, I thought you wanted to do whatever it takes to take down the Kamen Riders, so here we go. Let's work together. That's what I want too. So Buffa, essentially agrees to sort of like work with her. She kind of wins him over, and then let's see. We then cut back to Sae and Neon. So this is important for what we'll talk about at the end of the episode. But these two have a real bonding moment.
Another I love family talk where Neon feels left out, and everyone else has a family who cares.
It is funny that they keep pairing Neon up with people who like to talk about their families because she's like, no, I kind of hate them. They're all there's nothing there.
Oh, you have a nice brother and sister. I have a mom who's freaking crazy.
Yeah, I just told her off. I'm pretty sure I'm disowned now. But yeah, Sae, has a big sob story about her family. So her family ran a restaurant. Her dad became ill and died. Her siblings still had like athletic dreams, basically. She wanted to provide for her family after her dad died, so she frames it as like her wish in the DGP, which is to, maintain her athleticism as she gets older, was a wish so that she could provide for her family, without having any issues and being able to continue to support them. And
Which
my
makes
issue
your
with
wish
that,
seem, which in general makes your wish seem a little less like conceited.
yeah,
Because in
but
the beginning it just sounded like I want to be a jock forever, and now at least there's a tie to it of like I think I can help this way.
But like, isn't that too many steps? Like, should if you really want to provide for your family, shouldn't your wish just be like, I wish that my family wants for nothing for the rest of their lives? Like, why do you what if your end goal is my family does okay? Why does the wish have to be, okay, I'm going to be a perfect athlete, then I'm going to do athlete stuff, they'll give me money and fame, and then I'll give it to my family?
It's the journey, not the destination. She's living that nice long-term life, I guess. She doesn't want the instant win. She wants to play for it. There's 4 quarters in the game, Josh. She's not starting the 4th quarter. She's starting the 1st.
It felt like there was a little bit of like revisionist history of like she made a wish for herself and now she's just telling herself that it was to support her family. That's how I was at least reading into this.
That does seem more fair now that you mentioned it.
After the touching little moment there between the two, we'll call them sisters at this point. They're inseparable.
So real quick, the note I wrote as the Sisterhood of the Traveling Riders was
the Sisterhood of the Traveling Driver.
There we go. That's even better. My note then was the Neon and Lopo betrayal is going to be a shocker.
Yes.
Because after we were guessing last week of there's only 4 options left of who the destructor is, and there's one person that's seemed more obvious than the rest, and we're building up to that grand reveal. And of course, it's probably one of the women, as always, will probably be the bad one. So that's going to hurt. That's going to hurt one way or the other.
Yeah, I have a lot to say about that at the end of our episode here. I have some thoughts.
But it's funny too because when Salon is the host, correct?
No, it starts with a C. It's like Chi something.
Okay, so this kind of ties back to the beginning too.
But he always answers the phone like that though. He goes salon because he calls the little like lounge area the salon. I think.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, I think that's what he's doing. He's saying like this is the salon.
Okay, because the first time he said it, I was like, because he said it in like a funny voice. He's like, "Hello, salon." I kind of thought he was pretending like someone was calling an actual hair salon, and he just had to like ham it up for the thing because like it was like a wrong number kind of deal. And then he said it the second time, and I'm like, oh, I'm horrible at keeping track of names. Maybe his name is just Salon, and it slipped my mind.
No, his name is Chiram. I went back and looked it up. Chiram,
Okay.
Chiram.
So see, I'm horrible with names, so I will probably call him Salon the rest of the time.
Yeah.
Everyone keeping up with the episodes, this will be his new name. Please remember this.
Yeah, in the grand tradition of Pidgey and
Yeah.
Sumi in the past. So the salon is kind of like an old timey term for a living room, basically. Like let's retire to the salon. Like I've heard people use that term for a
How
room
the
in their
fuck
house
do you
before.
know that?
I come from a long line of old people, Toby.
Nice.
Yeah. Anyway, go on. Did you have more to say about him?
Oh yeah. So when he was only because he's so wacky.
He's
When they
very
were
wacky.
doing the okay, it's halftime, time to vote for the destructor again kind of vibe.
Mhm.
In my mind, I was like, at that point, I was like, what if he's actually the destructor and he's just making them vote for each other? And there's like a secret hack you have to do on the phone to vote for him instead, or they actually have to like all agree he was the destructor.
You have to put in the Konami code, and then his face pops up.
Yeah, you have to unlock the spider mode of the phone. You have to tickle it to make it giggle, and then a mystery 6 button shows up where it's like vote for the game master.
I don't want to know about the Spider's mixed mystery sixth button. That sounds a little X-rated there to me. Yeah, I can see him wanting to be inserted into the into the head of the game show. I also like really desperately wanted to see him as a writer too. Like when does he transform finally? Because it's got to be the most ridiculous transformation ever. I can't
Yeah,
wait.
like the last one was like the super computer nerdy hackerish one.
Yeah, like very
I
serious. Yeah.
I feel like his has to be like the most like flashy, flamboyant one we've seen yet.
Yeah, I'm
Like
picturing like flamenco dancer almost.
like flamenco dancer or like Carmen Miranda, the classic lady who danced with the fruit basket on her head.
Yes,
Like
perfect.
that's
Yeah,
the vibe I get from him if he was to have an outfit.
totally. Yeah. I hope we get to see him. I hope we get to see him as a writer. I don't know if that's a every game master thing, but that, I'm holding out hope. As you said, we do our sort of mid-round poll. It's a 3-way tie. Everybody except Kawa has a vote. And Neon kind of has a little speech like, it doesn't matter. We have to work together on this. Um, so she's really trying to rally the troops.
She's all about helping Sarah.
She is, yeah.
Because now she's been family enhanced 2 or 3 conversations through this episode. She once again realizes that her family probably sucks, and other families that actually care about her, care about each other, are probably the way to go.
Yeah, I think she has a little bit of like a found family moment in this episode too, because I think she tells her mom or something at some point, like no, it's like someone I care about or whatever is attached to the bomb. So yeah, I think she's maybe feeling that a little bit of like my family sucks, so I'm gonna lean into the people who in this game who I found who care about me. So like Kawa and Sarah and Ace and Sai for sure. So yeah, I bet that hit her harder than you maybe would have expected. Nonetheless, we go hunting pineapples once again. We talked about Kawa sort of finding the pineapple and destroying the Yamato and figuring out to cut the red buckle or the red wire. But in the midst of all that, Buffa appeared, and
Punished
Buffa
Buffa.
punished Buffa. Buffa. So I will say, I love what they're doing with his like transformations. Like they're really driving home the point that like he's kind of actively dying while this is happening. Like he is being taken over alive as a Giamato. Like he's sort of growing vines on his arm. Whenever he henshins, it's this crazy like he's screaming and writhing in pain and there's vines whipping everywhere, and then he like pops into Giamato form. Like it's a really cool, like kind of terrifying effect.
Well, yeah, like my general note is pretty much what you just said, but same thing where like his pain transformations look awesome all the time. Like
Yeah.
obviously the special effects and the lightning and all that add to it, but he's still pretty much like screaming, grabbing his zombie turning arm when he does it. Like he's having a bad time but still doing this because he's that gung-ho about like, no, fuck you guys for real, like I'm going to get you.
Yeah. He had like that moment of doubt like last episode, like where, I think he and Ace have that moment. Ace brings him some food. Like you almost think like, okay, is Buffa gonna realize that they're not all bad? Like, no, he's doubled down now. He is fully on the kill all Kamen Riders train once again. And at his own peril. Like in the midst of this, he at some point like falls out of henshin essentially. He dehensions in pain, and Ace like kind of shows him some pity. He says like, well, you're giving up your humanity for this.
I thought it was nice
that's
of Ace because like basically before he dehensions or like right on the same time, Geats is going for whatever the finisher thing is where he spins a little revolver thing and
Mhm.
he stops himself. And I was like, I'm glad that Ace is at least the responsible one where he's like, no, like I know this kid, he's being an idiot. I'm not going to just kill him. Like this
Yeah.
is not the move right now.
Yeah, I think Ace from the very beginning has he's had that vibe with Buffa of like, you're making the wrong decisions, but like I get where you're coming from. Like I get why you feel the way that you do. So yeah, I thought that was a cool moment between them. And like the last couple episodes with Ace, bringing the snacks to Buffa, and now this one really are like Ace doing everything he can to support Buffa, but like not get killed himself. I think is interesting.
I think he enjoys the, I'll call it friendly competition. Like he
Yes.
enjoys having someone that has the same drive as him. And basically what he seems to be doing is the same thing he did with, like he nudged Kayla enough until he became a functioning human and is actually playing and trying the proper way. He gave Neon her pep talk, which made her the strong, badass lady cat she is now. And
Yep.
it's almost like he's trying to do the same thing to Buffa, just with like Buffa words and not like Kayla words. Like, hey man, we can fight, but like you're doing some shit to yourself right now that you probably shouldn't be doing for this.
Yeah. He is the best pep talker. He knows exactly what to say to every person.
He's getting there.
Yeah, he's working on it. We also get an interesting scene here in the midst of all this fighting. The Giamato supporter woman shows up in Jean's audience room. So she kind of like pops in. Jean freaks out. Like he pulls a gun on this woman like right away, which I was not expecting Jean to be like packing heat. Jean tells her that this room is for rider supporters only. And she says that she's found a rider to support. And
He's
then,
just a zombie one.
yeah, exactly. And then I think like Jean realizes what she means, and there's like a split second before the scene cuts where I swear, Toby, the two of these make like fuck me eyes at each other. Like
Jesus.
it's gonna get bad. I think it's gonna get bad for Geats because I think maybe Jean has found someone new to idolize, and it is the woman on his sofa. So yeah, who knows what's gonna happen there?
The one interesting thing in the Kayla motivation fight where he kills Pineapple Man, he steals the buckle from Lopo or Sai, whatever, and that still seems like it shouldn't be legal to me from a standpoint of the game. Like that you can just like rip someone else's like buckle off of them and be like, nope,
Yeah.
I'm a zombie now, and just like go do what the fuck you want to do.
And it happens a lot in the show, it seems like. Yeah.
Yeah, like especially more recently. Like it's getting worse with like, I'm just gonna take your driver so you can't transform. I'm just gonna hold it. When Pidgey was doing it. And now it's like, yeah, you have this cool one. I'm going to literally just steal it off your belt and not just talk you into giving it to me, blah, blah, blah.
This is mine now. Just yank it off. Yeah. It seems like there should be, a better locking mechanism on those things so they can't come out like that. Yeah, that was crazy. Yeah, Keiwa is like that was during his like man on a mission. Like I'm gonna do anything I can to take down this Giamato.
He was ready.
He was. And then of course as the show ends, so we have a couple ending scenes. So the first, I don't think was too consequential. We get a little producer scene where basically they're questioning of like, should we step in and like do something about this Buffa situation, and because it's the sponsor, like it's a hard situation to deal with, and like, but the producer like has his eye on it basically, and Yeah, I've seen him kind of behind the scenes in the last couple episodes, like knowing things are happening, but deciding just to let them play out, and that
Let's
seems to
see
be
what
what.
happens. We're not gonna
Yeah,
get too involved.
exactly. So like, still continuing to not get too involved there, and then our final scene, Toby, which is the big one that I wanted to talk about.
Wait, before you do it.
Yeah.
When before the heads VIP duo are talking, he's standing there holding a compass going south southwest south southwest. What do we think is south southwest that he's looking for?
Who was doing this?
The boy that was eating the giant sushi roll that was
Oh, okay.
talking about, like, should we let
Yeah, like the
Jelly
producer
Bean
guy.
get
Yeah.
involved or not? He was looking for
South,
something
south.
first with his compass, and we didn't know what he was looking for.
That's a good question.
Thank you.
It's a hidden. It's a hidden driver.
Something crazy will come from that, from sure. Because
I'm sure. He's an interesting character because he's not completely evil yet, but he definitely is evil, right? Like he's not overtly evil 100%. Like he's been very aloof about things, and like obviously he threw Buffa back to the greenhouse, which wasn't great.
he's there for the money.
Yeah,
He's there for the money.
I'm interested in finding out more about him. But then we do find out a little bit more about Sae, Kamen Rider Lopo, because as this episode closes, she has a mission card in her hand. It's a disaster mission card, and it's a special mission for the spy, which is to hit the other riders with a Giamato fruit bomb.
Dun,
So
dun, dun.
the thing that they want you to believe at the end of this episode is that Sae is the disaster, is the spy, and that she succeeded in her bombing mission. However, Toby, my big conspiracy theory, which, have you watched episode 21 yet?
No, I have not.
Okay, I haven't either. So this is completely, I don't know anything. I'm making a prediction right now that this is a ruse, that she's not actually the disaster, and that it really is Neon. That's my big guess.
See, I assumed it was all legit, and was like, of course it is, because this is the only way this whole thing works, with the other three being good guys and not being the evil one. Because obviously, so I guess it obviously can't be Geats or Kawa now,
because they got bombed. Yeah, right. Exactly.
So maybe Neon threw her card away.
Yeah, I guess like Geats could be playing like 4D chess and have bombed himself. That seems reasonable for Geats, but let's assume for a moment that that's not what happened. I'm thinking that Neon threw the card down or something, and Sae found it, and like that moment that we saw was her being like, "Oh my god!" She
fucking tricked me.
Yeah, because if you think back through, right, like this episode, we did get the like touching moments with Sae, but they've been, the last couple episodes, they've been really building up the Neon Sae relationship in such a way that like clearly one of them is going to betray the other. Like something's going to happen, I think, between the two of them. And this episode, I think Neon's big speech to her mom was sort of the thesis statement of like, no, I'm not going to let other people control this for me. I'm going to decide what I get and what I don't get. Like, I think that's Neon's like big resolve of like, fuck it, I am the disaster and I'm going to win that way. Like, I think she maybe just like turned a corner where like that is a reasonable thing for her character arc. So I think it'd be a good payoff if she was the spy. I think if Sae is the spy, like it's obviously the easiest writing to progress like that, because then your main characters don't have to be, the evil ones who've been bombing the other Kamen Riders. But it's not as interesting to me, I think.
So with your new logic, I would say that does seem more accurate now, because what better a third Grand Prix than if they're all still playing for a third time, and the whole time the whole gimmick of it is, well, fuck you, Neon, you lied to us last time.
Yeah,
and they have to work together again.
Yeah, what if freaking Neon becomes like the big bad, right? Like not that she's like evil, but just like that. Then now they think she can't be trusted, and they thought she was this sweet girl who would help them out and be their best friend forever, and really it's just like, no, I'm in it for me.
That'd be
That's
all for
awesome.
love. All for
Yeah.
love.
All for love. I really, really hope that's the direction it is, because that dynamic change is wonderful. Obviously, like it having been Kwa would have been interesting, but like I think that's completely out of the question. We've talked about before as far as his character goes, and Geats was kind of the obvious answer of who it could be, just because he's always like 10 steps ahead. But I really don't think it is. They've really de-emphasized his role in these past few episodes, like like to a huge degree. Like he basically, we've gotten zero character progression on Ace for at least 3 episodes now. And we've really been focusing in on kind of the Neon Sai relationship. So anyway, and that's my called shot. We'll see if it holds true or not.
I like it. I also just rewound to the scene real quick where the apple bomb comes. I was looking to see if maybe like Geats wasn't standing there when it came, or if there was a way he could have thrown it and snuck back in.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, there's definitely no way. Like he was definitely too involved with KY the whole time, where it definitely came from a third party.
Yeah, it bounces like right between them, and he like has to kind of turn to sort of check it out. Yeah.
I also want everyone to know that I watched the opening song again this week, because I was told that the intro has changed multiple times now, and the new intro is pretty cool with all the new graphics and all the dreaminess of Ace and everything else.
I thought you were gonna say I watched it. I couldn't tell a difference.
It looks exactly the same.
I definitely thought that's where you were going.
I should have did it on purpose then.
Yeah. So that is this episode. I'm very excited about episode 21 now. We should hopefully, at least get closer to an answer of who's the disaster. I don't know how they could drag it out much further, because obviously, we know it's not 2 of them, and we're dragged down to, one of the 2, and they're really heavily leaning on making us think that it's one of them, which we'll find out. But yeah, I'm pretty invested now at this point. When it sort of dawned on me watching this episode of like the shift in the series has been away from learning about Ace and his background, like him being the main mystery, to the DGB itself and the mystery around the people involved in it and stuff. That made me a lot more excited, I guess, about the reality TV era of the show, because I'm really liking like the layers being peeled back about the DGP. That's cool. Especially the sponsor for the Giamato and stuff too is like a weird extra wrinkle that I wasn't expecting.
You can definitely get another episode or 2 out of it that way as well.
Yeah, definitely.
So for the actual this round of the Grand Prix, this should be the end of the game, right? Like Fruit Bomb should be the last like mini game, and like next week or the next 2 weeks should be the boss fight then.
Let's see. So they'll vote someone out with the Fruit Bomb episode. So that'll be 3 people left. So then they'll have one more game, right? Because they'll have to get down to 2 remaining people.
But I feel like that's always boss. I feel like boss fights always 3, because it's always 3 games. So the 3 games this time were School, Fruit Bomb, and whatever last week was. Isn't that right?
Yeah, I guess that's right. Yeah. Well, yeah, because I guess the like final round boss fight would be the 3 of them to get down to 2, and then you'd find out whether one of the 2 is the disaster left or not, right?
I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we're rapidly approaching another game end. And it clearly, as we know, anything can happen. They can end the game early and just decide everybody gets carryover tickets. Like all bets are off.
There's no real rules, and it's a TV show, so the game can change however it wants to.
Exactly. I hope for the next game they really double down on it and just do like a Survivor spoof. Just they just move to an island. They have tribal ceremonies. Just it's fully Survivor.
The suggestion that was given to me was they should turn it into a cooking show, and then do like Hell's Kitchen or Top Chef or one of those. That would be hilarious as well. That
would be great. What if just every episode was just like a different reality show concept, just a spoof? That'd be...
I feel like there's enough general ones. They could probably get away with a couple more. Like,
totally.
I'm sure they'll run out of like actual decent usable ones by the time this is over. But there's enough shitty reality TV out there you can do pretty much anything at this point.
Yeah, I think so. It seems reasonable. Oh, good times. All right, folks. Well, that is going to do it for us for episode 20. Lots to talk about, lots to be excited about for next time. But we are going to wrap it up here. So, again, if you want to send us an email, send those over to cast@kamenridersucks.com. We'd love to hear from you, hear your thoughts on the show. Send us any questions you might have. If you want us to answer, silly questions on the air, please send those along. If we got anything wrong, we'd love to hear those corrections as well. Happy to.
I will ignore it if you tell me I'm wrong. God damn it!
I love telling Toby he's wrong about things, so please send those in too.
Set Josh up to take me down.
Please make sure you are subscribed to the show. If you aren't already, you can subscribe in podcast form in your favorite podcasting app by searching for the Comment Writers, or you can subscribe on YouTube. We are on the channel Pretty Deece if you search for that, or you can just go to KamenRiderSucks.com to find the playlist of all of our episodes. You can keep up with us when we're not recording episodes about Kamen Rider as well. Where can the people find you, Toby?
On Twitter, it's at Life of Tobes, Tobes, and on YouTube, it's Tobes Plays, where I play games. And my name is Tobes, so it's called Tobes Plays.
Oh, that's why.
15 years later, the mystery has been solved.
What game are you currently playing?
Right now is a lot of Yakuza Judgment still, or just Judgment,
Nice.
or Like a Dragon Judgment, or however that works.
You got to use the new terminology. You gotta be hip with the times.
And then apparently, or not apparently, because it's true, there's other like new Yakuza games coming out, like Ishin and wherever the other side one is that goes with that. So basically, the channel will probably be dominated with at least mainly Yakuza games for a while, and as their little side things come out. And at some point, Kingdom Hearts 4, Josh, and that's what everyone's waiting for.
I was gonna say you are just a dedicated Kingdom Hearts and Yakuza channel. That's pretty much what it is, right?
Exactly. That's what it's turned into somehow.
Great. Perfect. That's wonderful. You can find me on the internet. I typically am on Twitter and Tumblr. I am at Pretty Deece Josh in both of those places. That's PrettyDecejosh. So once again, we'll be back for Kamen Rider Geats episode 20 to talk more nonsense about the Desire Grand Prix. We hope you will join us back for that as well. And until then, have a great week. Peace.
I'm taking shots at the enemy. I'm gonna make it to the top, leave a legacy. If I got something to say, you better let me speak. Turn it up a new degree, bitch, you ain't seen anything. I pop off with the new rock, electron.